Welcome back to Dark Cinema Recaps. Today we're starting a new 7-week venture, recapping the Scream movie franchise.
We'd like to thank regular commenter Brenda Keane on the Scream 5 suggestion, but instead of just covering one film, we figured we're going to start from the beginning and do the whole thing, because it's a franchise that we both love, and so this whole series is dedicated to her. She has been the first commentator we've had when we first started, and I also, we say, if you want a recommendation, if you want a video, if you want to shout, if you want to mention, let us know in the comments section, and she regularly does, so this series is completely dedicated to her.
The film opens with young Casey Becker receiving phone calls from an unidentified caller. At first it seems as if he has gotten a wrong number, but it soon becomes clear he is toying with her. His voice gets more and more threatening. Casey becomes frightened when she realises her caller can see her. She begins to panic when the caller threatens to kill her and forces her to answer movie trivia in exchange for her life and the life of her boyfriend Steve, who she sees tied up on the back patio.
After killing Steve, the caller torments Casey until finally breaking into the house and chasing her. He's dressed in a black costume with a white ghost mask over his face. He chases her across the lawn as her parents pull into the driveway. They don't see her, and Casey's been stabbed in the chest, unable to scream. After killing Casey, the murderer strings up her body in the backyard for her parents to discover.
We then meet Sidney Prescott and her boyfriend Billy Loomis. Billy sneaks into her bedroom window and attempts to have sex with her, but Sidney is unsure and wants to remain a virgin for now. They are almost discovered by Sidney's father, Neil, and he comes into Sidney's room to discuss the fact that he's going out of town. We learn that Sidney's mother was killed almost 1 year before, that Sidney and her father are alone, and that Sidney's testimony identified Ray Donovan, Cotton Weary, as her killer, although Cotton swears he is innocent.
The next day, Sidney's school is abuzz with news that the murderer in the classes are temporarily cancelled. Sidney decides that since her father is gone and she's alone, she's going to stay with her best friend Tatum, and that is also a bed I would like to crawl into. Sidney, Tatum and Billy sit with their group of friends, which includes Randy, who is obsessed with horror movies, and Stu, class clown type, who used to date Casey Becker, and to be fair, seems like an all-round nice guy. Sidney goes home, waiting for Tatum to pick her up.
The phone rings, and she hears a strange voice, the same one that was on the call with Casey. At first she thinks it's Randy joking around, but the caller turns abusive and brings up Sidney's mother. Do you want to die, Sidney? Your mother sure didn't. The killer emerges from a closet in Sidney's house, and a chase starts. Why did he always go up the stairs? Throughout the house, and Sidney locks herself in her bedroom and dials 911. Then Billy arrives, climbing through Sidney's window again, and a cell phone falls out of his back pocket.
Sidney realises that it may have been him phoning her, and she runs downstairs out the house only to be greeted by the police. Not just the police, Dewey with a mask holding it up to the door. She's taken to the police station along with Billy, where he is questioned at the police station. Sidney meets Dewey, Tatum's older brother and town deputy. Outside the police station, she is confronted by nosy reporter Gail Weathers, the writer of an exposé about the murder of Sidney's mother. Gail feels that Cotton Weary was wrongfully convicted, and now Gail is following up a story about the murder of Casey Becker. She feels the murders are connected. Sidney then smacks Gail so hard, she gets married to Chandler.
Tatum takes Sidney to her house, where she receives another phone call from the killer, who tells her, "You got the wrong guy, Sidney, again." The next day at school, Sidney is threatened by the killer while she is in the bathroom, but she escapes. School is over and a curfew is now in place, so the group of friends decide to throw a party. Of course you do. Gail Weathers takes a cameraman to the party in an attempt to talk to Sidney, but Dewey intercepts her. The two of them talk and seem to have a mutual affection for each other.
It's actually quite nice because them two did legit get married after this film, so they enter the party and Dewey chooses not to bust the partygoers for underage drinking. During the party, Billy and Sidney go upstairs and Sidney has hi with him, Meanwhile, Tatum has a confrontation with Ghostface in the garage. Tatum tries to escape through a cat flap, where she is killed by the world's strongest garage door. Now, as much as we joke about this scene, because we do, it's iconic.
It is
the whole,
the stupidest kills I've ever seen in a horror
where she's like,
film.
cuddling into Ghostface. Oh, please, Mr. Killer, don't kill me. And then it's just an all-out brawl where she's throwing bottles at him, she twats him with the freezer door.
And she tries to go through a cat flap.
But thing is, the stupid thing about it, the tits get through.
Yeah.
She could have actually got through. It could have worked. It was just a case of like, no, I'm getting lifted up now. Well, fuck it. I've always wanted to be in a claw machine.
Yeah. Hope for the best.
So, yeah, as much as I do genuinely love that scene.
After the interlude between Sidney and Billy, the door opens and in walks the killer, who stabs Billy in the back. Another chase ensues. Dewey is stabbed. Gail, in her news van, swerves to avoid hitting Sidney and runs her car down a hill, striking a tree and appearing to be killed. Sidney ends up in the house facing Randy and Stu, both claiming the other is the killer. Stu is vying to come inside and obtain the gun. Randy wants to leave.
Eventually, Billy stumbles down the stairs, bloodied, and lets Randy and Stu into the house, shooting Randy and turning to reveal that the blood is fake. Billy was only pretending to be stabbed. He was aided by his accomplice, Stu. Both of them are the killers. Billy also reveals that he was responsible for the killing of Sidney's mother, who had had an affair with his father.
Billy blamed Mrs. Prescott for the breakup of his parents' marriage and murdered Mrs. Prescott out of revenge. Billy and Stu also reveal that they all have kidnapped Mr. Prescott, who is tied up in a closet. They have framed Mr. Prescott for the murders and intend to wound each other to make it look like as if Mr. Prescott attacked them, at which point they will both kill him and Sidney. Billy and Stu inflict flesh wounds on each other with a knife, but they are interrupted by Gail Weathers, who returns armed with Dewey's gun.
Now, this part of the film for me
I'm
is... it's perfect. Matthew Lillard just going fucking insane in this. But it's kind of like the moment...
It's that build up to it, and it's like, oh!
It's where they discuss... Because you can tell that they're in love and they don't want to admit it as well.
It's that love relationship between the two of them that is just not fully both-sided.
As Scream is a horror, there's meant to be a parody of horrors, and then becomes one of the greatest horror films of all time. And I think it lives and dies on that scene.
Yes.
If that scene isn't as good as what it is, Matthew
Lillard made that
We're
scene.
not talking about Scream today. If that scene is not as good as what it is, it's incredible. Gail, the silly sausage, forgets to switch off the gun's safety and a struggle ensues. Sidney strikes back at her tormentors. Fun fact on this one, with the umbrella scene where she rams it into the chest, there was a chest plate on, and Neve Campbell legit missed. And when Skeet goes down, it's like shouting in pink. That's genuine. That's 100% happening. Killing Stu with a television and shooting Billy in the head with a gun. Dewey is revealed to be alive, as is Randy. All ends well as Gail reports that the Mocker House has been the scene of what seemed to be a real-life scary movie. So, that was the recap for the 1996
Stu
Scream.
isn't dead. Stu cannot be dead.
Oh, behave.
How could they kill him just with a TV?
He was bleeding out quite badly.
So?
You have to remember
We've
as
seen
well.
killers
Like,
get up and walk away from things like that.
Like, after the whole...
stabbing and everything else.
Yeah, when they go stabbing each other.
I still think he's going to be alive at some point.
He's even bleeding out there when he's sitting down, he's answering the phone, he's talking to... He's he's saying, like, my parents are going to be so mad at me. And then he goes and has another fight. I always want to go, Cindy,
the TV's leaking.
He goes and has another fight with Sydney as well. And, you know, she does a number on him there.
I think that he is going to be alive. And I think that's why they never actually did the full shoot in the head.
I do know. I do agree. I do think that they are going to bring him back at some point. But
and Matthew Lillard, if you come back, wow,
he's amazing. It's so good. And yeah, this film's just ace.
It is.
We love this film. It's like, and Ghostface scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah,
I mean,
get that.
It came out when I was 6. It was like, hard as a kid. Like, watching this, I was genuinely terrified. And then, like, with my dad and my brother would, like, hide the mask around just to torment me even more, which I'm grateful for now because I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's 1996's Scream. One of my personal all-time favorites. So that was a recap for Scream. Next week we're going to be doing 1999 Scream 2, which is... I like it. I like it. I don't like Scream 3.
It's a franchise.